All right, so this is the Park Commission regular meeting, Monday, February 9th, starting at 6:30. So we have the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chair Jesse Valdez. Vice Chair Jason Grigg.
Here.
Myself, Susan Lance. Commissioner Stanley.
Present.
Commissioner Remington.
Here.
Commissioner Seraphin.
Here.
And I see a non-voting member, ex officio, Leah Voss is not here. And non-voting member, ex officio, Michelle Runte, not. Okay, and Kevin Schlater.
Here.
And I see John Nelson.
Here.
All right, so we're going to open at 6:31, citizen comment period. And no one is here. We're closing that at 6:32. The next on the agenda is to approve the minutes from January 12th meeting.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those not in favor? Motion. Next up then, Kevin on Parks.
Not much to report, just one issue that had come up during the cold snap. We had a water pipe burst at Pleasant View Park, so we're working on repairing all that. We had the heating issue at Ken Wendell. We're working on that. But nothing we can't fix in-house. Other than that, nothing.
What about
That's
the roof
enough.
you were talking about at Ken Wendell?
The what?
The roof you were talking about at Ken Wendell.
Until I could budget for
You
repair,
said
I
it
can't.
was leaking,
Yeah, that's until I get the budget.
but it's patched something.
Not until spring we can go up there and try and figure it out. Quite an issue.
Okay. Arbor Day. Any updates on that, or are we just...
In your packet, I provided some information you had requested from the health department about service food. Basically, their recommendation was not to prepare any food on site, but if you wanted to have drinks or like packaged goodies, that would be okay, and they're happy to provide more. So what's in your packet was the response that they sent me along with some information about like how the hand washing.
So just to be clear, any group that would be selling or offering food at Arbor Day would fall into this exempt group by Wisconsin Food Code. Because I would have no intention of, I'm not saying like any of us or the Parks and Rec Commission would sell food. I'm saying maybe a scout troop or some other group like that would offer something. So similar to like they do at St. Martin's Fair and stuff. I have reached out to a scout troop to see if they would be interested in that. And of course they would have to have, which I think they do, they know this checklist stuff. Mm-hmm. So yeah, but we weren't asking to do it as a group here.
I thought you were thinking of a food truck.
Or if there was a food truck or something like that that was interested in doing it, the library said that they would not have any problems with that. But that's not an exempt group. They would have licensing.
Oh, okay.
Right? Like if they're a food
so
truck.
So the scouts would be exempt if they had chips packaged and bottled water or whatever.
Yeah. Right. Otherwise, it would be like a restaurant or something, and they would have their, I think then they have to bring a health certificate or something to show
Yeah.
their,
A commercial entity would
Registration.
have to be licensed in the city of
So who is asking for this? Who's it?
Angela is one of the city health inspectors.
Okay. Oh, who asked or why is it getting brought? Or was it just general?
There was a request for that information in my notes from the last meeting.
Oh,
so
okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So, and then we're saying fine as long as the license or they have their safety. Okay.
By the flyer. This
Gotcha.
would be exempt from the flyer, Marion.
Okay, cool.
so I guess to be clear on that, then you're saying like a food truck from, I don't know, Cudahy could not set up there.
Many food trucks have licenses in multiple municipalities, but they would have to be like in.
Okay.
It kind of doesn't matter where their kitchen is as long as it's local.
Okay. Well, I think you're the point of contact, so if somebody does say they're interested, you start off by saying, do you have a license? And if they don't, then do it.
Yep. And
Unless they went to the library, because the library is going to promote it as well.
yeah, and I would hope they would reach out because we would probably suggest they go through a temporary process anyway to just make sure that we evaluate like where they're that kind of stuff. It's a little bit different because what you guys are doing is a municipal event, but food trucks are go through that separate permitting.
Temporary use.
And they're not allowed in. The sale of food is an ice cream truck would be allowed in the city park.
Yeah, I don't know. It's Milwaukee County Library,
Yeah, so
and it's in their parking lot. I don't know. I mean, I kind of feel like we could cross that bridge if somebody says, hey, we're interested. We might not. My interest in it, and the reason that I brought it up, was to be able to reach out to the local scout troops and say, hey, it'd be nice to have some coffee and donuts and maybe this organization, we could support that
Gotcha.
fund as a fundraiser for one
Yeah.
of those types
Okay.
of.
Yeah.
That was my intention.
And you haven't heard back yet.
No.
I don't think the newsletter's gone out yet, but
And then the newsletter may also generate. Yeah.
Can you for next meeting, Marion, just I guess bring in a who we have signed up for that event as well, if we have anyone yet, as well.
I did that last time. And like Marion said, the newsletter won't even go out until March, right?
correct.
So can we give you an
Or
update
do April.
in
then,
April?
Isn't it in April?
It's in May.
Oh, May 2nd,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
right.
So if we can do an update in the April meeting, I think maybe we could save our agenda time
Perfect. Perfect.
if you're all right with that. Yeah,
Yep.
that'd be my suggestion.
Perfect. All right, everyone good on Arbor Day for now? Beautiful. Next on the list then, Franklin City website and stuff like that. I know I was kind of working on this. I didn't get as far as I wanted to, so I have nothing for this. Yeah. And then I'll have to motion.
There's no
Action. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the next letter D Discussion of combined Parks and Environmental Commission, scope, purpose. So now we were talking about the slides last time, kind of what we're doing, so. Marion, I'll let you take it away.
Yep, so in your packet is some information about the scope, purpose, and powers of the combined commission. So for those of you that are familiar with how we kind of ended up here procedurally, we basically combined the responsibilities of the two commissions. So this information is in your packet as well, but it is what is in the municipal code. So you are able to appoint agents and employees subject to the approval of the mayor and common council.
We've never done that.
That's true, but it is one of the powers that's listed among your powers and duties.
Then we should be appointing all kinds of employees. Deputies. People. We don't have, we have an opening on this commission. We should be appointing them?
I'm gonna wait till the end but why don't you address it? Because this is the first time I'm seeing this. Appoints agents and employees subject to approval of the mayor and common council as may be necessary to carry out the functions of the Parks Commission. So, if somebody wants to be a member of this board or commission, it falls in line with every other board or commission appointment. There's an application process online. That person comes to me. Okay? If you have somebody you want to recommend, that's fine. Then I bring it to council for ultimate approval. That hasn't changed. That's been decades.
Yep, so if there's someone that the commission wants to recommend, that's certainly within the scope of what you could do.
That often happens.
Yeah.
But they'd still fill out the application.
Online, yes, ma'am.
But we do not appoint.
Subject to the approval of the mayor and common council. So like the appointment is ultimately that power lies with the mayor.
Semantics.
Has charge and supervision of all city parks and recreation programs subject to mayor and common council supervision. So if there was a program that was proposed to be instituted in the park, and you've gotten lots of requests over the years, different kind of projects and events and those kinds of things. So that power is delegated to you, but the common council could also take a decision on something if they needed to. But under their supervision, you have charge of recreation programs, makes reports and recommendations, including budgetary items, to the mayor and common council. So if there was a change to the budget that you wanted to recommend, that is within your scope. Reviews and recommends policies and procedures regarding efforts to perform recycling and composting. So this is one of the duties of the Environmental Commission that was wrapped into the Parks Commission, as may be required from time to time due to changes in state laws, regulations, and funding. So for example, if you wanted to take up a composting program or a plastic film recycling program here in the city, that would be something that you could research and make a recommendation to common council and that are undertaking that. Make recommendations regarding environmental issues of concern to the city. So I think of a recent example of this, but the new UDO has provisions in it for solar energy, which was not something that this municipal code really touched on before the current ordinance. So if you thought we want to allow balcony solar in addition to a rooftop solar, that would be something, a discussion that you could have and bring up. So, because it requires different permitting. For example, monitors federal and state laws and policies regarding environmental issues as they relate to the city. So if there are changes to federal and state law that you become aware of and think directly affect how the city is performing its operation, that's something that is appropriate to bring up and bring through the legislative path out of this commission and on up through the common council. The reverse of that is that often we will bring things to the Environmental Commission, Parks Commission, as we move them up to Common Council for your review before they go up farther in terms of, so the compensation guide is an example of that we're looking at instituting this new policy. You are reviewing it first before we take the recommendation to Common Council. Promotes interest in obtaining grants to assist the city in environmental matters. One example of this might be the Metropolitan Milwaukee Sewerage District has green infrastructure funding. This commission has had comment and made recommendations about possible opportunities for spending of that funding, where green infrastructure could go and what it could look like. There are plenty of other funding sources. So if you guys hear of a grant and you're like, we think this would be a good opportunity to layer with something that we're already doing or whatever, that's something that gets filtered out, like people have sent information. Promotes citizen participation in events concerning environmental issues. Arbor Day is obviously an example of that. And then in addition to the specified powers and duties of above, the commission reviews and recommends on such matters as are directed by the council. So the Buckthorn conversation, that was a good example of Common Council asking for this commission input on what would be appropriate for the city to do in terms of a yes or no on a noxious food policy for Buckthorn. So that's what's in our municipal code. All of this is also empowered at the state level, where the parts of it specific to the Parks Commission are empowered at the state level. And then Common Council can change if they need to. So
Just one thing. So, Mary's point. Point one, do you think the first couple words you could smith a little bit to take out the
Recommend?
confusion?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's in the code, but
I know, but it's, yeah, well, sometimes the codes are antiquated and
yep.
people get misled.
It is confusing.
I know, Alderman, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think having better clarity, you know, one thing I always say to my children is words have meaning, so.
Right.
I'm so glad to hear that, because I have something that I'd like to recommend if I could have the floor for a moment. When I started, I got this Administrative Rules and Procedures, Marion, and it's dated 2002.
Yep.
If we could put this on the agenda, all of us review it, we can butt it up with these statutes that are now being added, the 8, 9, and 10, because the Parks Commission is 27.07, which is in this instructions for this commission. So if we could incorporate that into this, I feel like it would be clear what this consolidated group has as far as rules and procedures.
Incorporate this into
Those statutes at the bottom that are referenced, when you read our rules and procedures, only 0.07 is referenced. So we just need to incorporate it. I don't think it would be much, but administratively, the words would be updated to 6 for the commission that's consolidated.
I don't even see .07 on there, Kristen. What am I?
Right, that's in our Parks Commission. Parks, 0.07 is the state statute for Parks Commission requirement. So it's not on there because I think these are the ones that were brought into it, which changed. This is the change. Is
Yeah,
that correct?
I think so. These are the current statutes. Like I went and double checked them.
Okay.
With my slide, which means that the administrative rules. I mean, the commission hasn't touched them as far as I think, at least not during.
You're right.
So
So I might make that recommendation to bring clarity to this consolidated commission to just take that source document and update it to incorporate all of these additions.
yeah, and to make sure that it reflects. So this is an administrative policy. The language that's up here is what's in Article 10
Right.
of the municipal.
And the only place that I have that is from when we were talking about consolidating it. It was provided as the
Right.
research by the different parts of the city government.
Okay, I have a note about administrative rules, the next meeting, that
Yeah, if you want to put it on our agenda, we could all individually look at this document and then just update it to say, these are the sections that need to be changed. Or I'll take lead on it and take a look at it. Yeah,
That would be perfect.
yeah, I've
So
got it. So,
you're asking to add, the
it's going to
2000
be an update of the administrative rules and procedures to incorporate the consolidated commission.
oh,
And the current statute, Wisconsin State
Yes.
statute.
Yes.
okay, hold on.
Even if we didn't consolidate, that's still old.
So
Yep. Does that make sense?
add update of the 2002 administrative rules and procedures to incorporate the consolidation of the parks and environmental.
The parks and environmental state statutes
Oh,
to the rules and procedures of the commission.
Yeah.
Not hard. What might make it easier is if I could get a soft copy of that 2002 document. Would you have that?
I will look and see what I have.
If not, I'm just gonna turn over a hard copy with edits.
That's
Okay. All right, I yield.
and will we do this clarification on that first bullet when we talk about these? Rules
Yeah,
and
I think
procedures?
so, that's. Or what do you thought?
I think what'll end up happening is that it will become a two-part update to Common Council. Update the administrative policy that is your administrative rules, and also to do a text change of the rest, the first bullet. So, because that has to be approved by Common Council.
Doing the administrative might identify the words that need to be changed. So we can note those.
And you can make a recommendation about language this if you want, but I can package it.
We're good on this.
So there's also the NRSC recommendation forms. The mayor is here about item I, though, so I don't know if you skip ahead or.
Yeah,
DI or II? We're on
D-
DI, right?
Right.
Right now.
Yeah, and I would propose, we probably will have kind of an involved discussion about that, if you wouldn't mind.
so I have the motion to move it up, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then come back to the NRSC.
But if I could add, I'm here for a couple things, so if you just wanna do your normal
Okay,
thing.
yeah, sorry, I didn't.
No, that's fine. I appreciate that, but I have a couple other things.
Okay.
Mary and I talked about one of them.
So let's stand.
Let's, before we go, I think so in our packet on this updated, the updated, the compensation guide, all that thing, this is our most updated copy as of right now.
Yep, so we're kind of mixing together two things. There is your recommendation form in here. So,
Hang on one second.
Yeah, what are we on? I'm not clear on which agenda item we're on.
DI.
DI, okay. All right.
so
I thought the mayor said not to jump.
I agree with you, Mary.
We're
Yeah.
not DI.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
That I.
Okay. All right.
Yep, so in your packet, there should be an updated version of this commission's recommendation form. So when you make a recommendation to Plan Commission about a natural resource special exception.
Can you tell us what page that's on? I can't locate
You're
it.
talking about this big packet.
Yeah,
Maybe it didn't make.
I don't see it. I see the draft guide. I do not see the NRSC form.
All right, I'm gonna bring it up on the screen.
It wasn't this, Marion.
No.
It's dumb.
Not,
My apologies. I did make changes to it. It is.
I printed everything, right? Up a
I
packet.
picked up your packet.
Yeah. I didn't realize it.
It's easiest.
I'm gonna packet every
Because it's so
30
big.
pages.
Yeah.
Eyes aren't so bright, and it's just so much more.
Yeah, right.
I mean, if commissioners want printed packets, you're always welcome to come and grab them.
Did you find it?
Yep, so this is the updated form, right? I did not do track changes because it drives me bananas. But basically it's the header as we discussed previously with the developer information, natural resource protection plan, authors and their credentials, dates of field analysis, existing conditions, site history, and then a status of other agency reviews or permits. Then this is new, see the table in the natural resource protection plan, including all proposed temporary and permanent impacts, alterations to conservation easements, etc. Describing the request.
I hate to interrupt you. Can you scroll up? Is NRPP, okay, Natural Resource Protection Plan. Okay.
I think we need a copy of it though.
You will always receive one as part of your packet for an NRSC review. You'll get a printed copy of it. And whenever, like, we will always print the packet if you have an NRSC, at least for that element, so that you can mark it up as your.
So, can I speak about this? Before we get deep in the weeds on the forms and what gets filled out, because the mayor is here and we just went over the slide with the duties and responsibilities, which bullet covers that we have to review or that this council looks at natural resource protection or special exception? And I'm asking, sorry, I don't mean, I'm asking specifically because it doesn't seem like something we should do. It seems like something maybe should be done with the planner and then go to the planning and zoning and not come through this commission. We're a recommending body. Unless there's something specific that they wanted us to look into from an environmental standpoint, it just seems like an unnecessary extra step that is putting a burden on us to be kind of, we don't really have a say, but we're going to stand in the way of a plan moving forward. You know, they have to wait a month to go through us.
Oh, I agree. It's a ridiculous amount of red tape, and nothing but do I get pushback from people that want to do developments and everything else. I get nonstop pushback. So I understand what you're saying. And Marion, what are your 2 cents? Because if we can pull it out and streamline it, however you want to do it. But I don't think it's always necessary to come with something back to a commission and then go to planning anyway, or a planning meeting for planning commission, where you can zip it right to council.
I mean, I don't know how anybody else feels, but I'm not in for just
Is it,
checking a box in somebody's wish list. It seems pointless.
is it a requirement by state statute?
That I'm looking at from our, from the consolidation, city attorney's research, there is a statute which is 15-9.0110, and it does detail the requirements of an NRSA application. And that is under the Environmental Commission portion of the research. So that's might be a starting point. It was in regards to improvements or enhancements to a natural resource.
But,
So,
oh, go on.
under the previous ordinance, Article 9, and it's also Article 9, current ordinance, Unified Development Ordinance, which is part of, but like attachment to the municipal code, talks about the procedures that are required for land use applications. Because those processes typically happen separately, like they may go to Common Council for final approval, but they happen in boards in some cases that are empowered by state statute, or in other cases that are empowered by the Planning Commission and Board of Zoning Appeals are the state bodies that you're like required to have. And then the Environmental Commission became part of the NRSC process when it was established. So the local community chose to do that so that citizens that are not necessarily land use people would have input into that discussion before it went to Plan Commission, the land use body, and then Common Council review kind of general, like anything related. Right? So the thought process was that the Environmental Commission would have purview over things like what kinds of mitigation are being done, how it's being implemented on the site, is there something that's more appropriate, etc. Plan Commission would have kind of the general land use outlook at it, like in terms of the totality of the site, and they also review site plans. So most frequently in NRSE is as a result of a site plan review, where a developer comes forward and says, I want to put this building here, there's a wetland. So it's kind of adding another layer of review and local concern about it. Because ultimately the way that the ordinance is written, it is written in such a way as to require that any natural resource impact that occurs within the city of Franklin be compensated for here, so that the citizens don't lose the benefit of those woodlands or whatever.
But that would happen regardless of whether it came here or whether it went straight to zoning
Well, not zoning, but
Or-
council.
or Common Council. I mean, it has to be approved by planning and zoning because it's a plan,
Yeah.
right? It's a development plan. So doesn't it have to anyway? So there's three now, us, planning and zoning, and Common Council.
Did it used to go through environmental before we
Yes.
combined?
Yeah. So we actually did reduce the number of meetings under the new ordinance. It previously went to Environmental Commission, Plan Commission, and Common Council for the final decision, because it's a little bit more narrow to like a site plan. That's something that's frequently the source of these. Plan Commission was elected to be the deciding body, so it doesn't go to Common Council anymore. And
With
they
the new UDO.
under the new UDO.
Okay.
Also, there are cases where under what was previously required to go only to, right, that's, so also previously there were a lot of cases where someone was required to go through the whole NRSE process in addition to a site plan, when it was not necessarily like advantageous to do that, and they could make it. We thought, the city thought, as part of that process. So there are some cases now under the new ordinance where a site plan can approve woodland, kind of the feature. It's when they start to get into environmental corridors, or when they start to get into water resources. when it triggers the natural resource special exception, and then additional layer of review and cautionary oversight is so that there's that extra sort of, it's required to create friction when someone wants to impact a natural resource. The community has said we want to protect these resources to the extent possible, and we want to have this extra review to evaluate the reasonableness of the request. So, I mean, there's trade-offs in terms of it's going to delay people's timeline in terms of development processes, but in some ways that is the intent of the ordinance, is to require that they put thought into the design, because we frequently see projects that were crafted in such a way that they could be different. And a planner can give so much feedback, and we always do, but also hearing it has a purpose. So I realize that it's very technical and frustrating, but in some ways that friction.
Well, and it's not, from my standpoint, it's not just that. To me, it's also, first of all, planning and zoning. This is how our land gets planned, gets developed, is their wheelhouse. Whether the land has a special resource, a natural resource exception or not, they still have to have that broad understanding, right? That they're all encompassing. If we get this draft with the UDO, and the UDO points to, you need to use this guidance to come to your first planning and zoning meeting with any special exceptions that you're asking, right? If you want something specially an exception to what the regular ordinance is, that is a favor to you as a developer. But to do that favor, this is what the city wants from you, right? It's a quid pro quo. So this is, why can't we say, if you follow this and you use these species and you use these buffer determinations and you use these, and as long as someone checks that in your house before it goes there, it's not a matter of, it's a matter of, yes, they did meet all of their requirements with their mitigation, and we're done. And it doesn't have to be a contentious thing, because it's on paper. Here's what we expect of you. If we're going to give you, 50 feet of wetland buffer so that you can build a bigger apartment complex, then you're going to give us 300 trees planted over here on this corner, or whatever. It shouldn't be as complicated as I feel like it's been, because we should have it spelled out in the guide, and then you follow the rules of the guide. And so that is where the guide and this question and answer form, if they're tight documents that a developer fills out, and they're not just what we have seen. What we have seen, not from any one individual or from multiple applicants, is not applicable, or is this a wetland, or is this no, I don't think so, whatever. That's why we started with, it has to be somebody who understands and has the credentials to fill out this form. So that it's a quality application. And if it's a quality application and the city has clear guidelines, then people who want to get their projects pushed through quicker can follow the guidelines, And if they're saying, well, I have to come back, well, you didn't follow the guideline. If you follow the guideline, or if you need help following the guideline, then yeah, it's going to take longer. But if you hire a professional person who understands wetland mitigation or tree species or whatever the case is, then you can get it done faster.
So basically, if they followed the guide, they pass go.
Isn't that the whole goal?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
But if not, they wanted to ask for something unusual, which is, we do, currently the ordinance does that also, so that you could do a site plan and you're required to do compensation under that.
In the
scope,
3
but-
years that I've been on environmental commission, can you think of one example where we've had something that if we didn't have this guide, if we had this guide and they followed this guide, where there would be something weird outside of it? I'm not saying, I'm just saying, can you think of something? I can't, but
Right, so what I'm talking about is the cases where they don't want to follow the guidelines, because that's pretty common. Like what
And
you're saying
that's,
is,
to
yeah.
me though, that's what I'm trying to say is, and the planning commission has the guide and says, yes, we have this document, you're not following it, so you can't move forward. As soon as you follow it, we can press go. It's your fault, not our fault, that your development's taking so long. It's on paper what you need to do. So you're pointing to paper, you're not pointing to, you know, oh, Amy Serafin, Environmental Commission brought up that, you know, that's the kind of thing that I want these documents to avoid. And then if that is the case, I don't understand why it has to come to our commission at all.
I like that. I think we would have to, we would have to amend the table. We would have to amend the UDO in order to get us there ultimately.
Yes.
I want to have a chat with the planning about what that would look like. So is this something that you, like, is generally of interest to the group? That I know this has been challenging for folks. And I mean, you're proposing to give up basically a power that you have.
See, I disagree. I don't think we have the power anyway.
Well,
I don't either.
historically, from the Parks Commission
I really
side,
don't.
this is the part that is easy for us to give up because it is in our subject matter expertise. So saying that we would give the planning commission we don't have to make a recommendation to them. They can get all of the information that they need off of the form and through the process.
And
I
then
think
they're-
that's what we've been saying, right?
yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say, yeah.
And they're making the final recommendation before council anyway.
And they have the authority to do so. We do not. Even in this scope and purpose that you just gave us, we don't have authority. So it's kind of like, it might make somebody feel good that you can say, oh, an environmental commission looked at this, but it doesn't, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. And there is a little bit of point to making somebody feel good, I guess, but that's not what I'm here to do.
Can I say my piece?
Yeah. of course.
So I think I totally agree with what you're saying. That we've wasted so much time. And I've only been here a year and a half. But I think one thing that saves that it coming to our desk saves us a lot. Like for example, I think it was the abandoned concrete factory in the corner of the city. You remember what it was?
I do.
And they wanted to clean it up and do something. We made a recommendation that they planted prairie grass there. Now, I would say at least me and you are on this commission, or we're on this commission for environmental reasons, right? So people on the planning commission might not have had that thought process of, oh, we should do prairie grass here because they're trying to restore this. So I agree with what you're saying. It's a lot of hoopla. But there's aspects of at least for me, that's why I sat here, or would have come to these meetings, the environmental impact of things. Like there's things that we've said in the past that I don't think someone on a planning commission might think. And it's not a bad thing. I wouldn't expect someone to think about it. But that's why I sit on this commission, to bring environmental aspects to whatever we're doing, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense, and I would like to respond that I agree with what you're saying. I think that a good natural resource protection plan guidance document can include that the seed
lot of
mix
that.
must be
Yeah.
native prairie mixes when you are using it for whatever. So I think, in my opinion, our efforts would be best spent getting this guidance document and this application to a place where we felt like those bases were covered, right?
Sure.
That's
Where it
what
runs
we've been
itself.
trying to do.
Okay.
And
so then
then
we're not sitting here.
it gets passed on to planning and zoning to also look at this
Mhm.
and see what we're asking. And then it would be great if we could take NRSCs off of Parks and Environmental Commission and just go straight to zoning. I don't know, I'm not but as the city, that seems like a best option for me too.
I have a comment for you.
Yes.
There's also an opportunity to give public statements
Comments too.
during the public
Yeah.
comment periods, and I just saw that in last common council meeting.
Sure.
They put it on YouTube, and they had a previous alderperson come up and give some comments, and
Okay.
somebody who was involved in some,
Yeah.
info from a long time ago come and give comments. So if you kept up with the planning commission, agendas, you'd be able to see if there's something that you felt
Okay.
that your contribution would be value added.
NRSCs are actually required to do a public hearing process where we publish a specific notice of the nature of the request in the paper of record for the area, posted in City Hall, and then we mail a postcard to people within 500-foot radius of the property line, so that they get a
At
little
least
yellow
they know.
postcard in the mail as subject matter, etc. And we could include the commission in the noticing process, so that you're aware of those requests.
My next question, and this was the only other thing I had, when it comes to compliance of, because if we do all this work to make this guide, right, compliance is, I think, the next big question for after. How often, or if any, and I know we've brought this up in our environmental past, compliance enforcement, kind of stuff like that, when it comes to, is that a thing that exists now in code that we have to go check? Okay. Or not we, but the city has to go check.
So previously there were some pretty vague requirements
Mhm.
about maintenance. Now, as part of this guidance and also part of there's some more specific requirements
Okay.
about a time period for maintenance, survival rates for plants, those kinds of things. And then we can also request a surety for that during
Okay.
a developer
Sure.
process.
And then let's say I had an issue with John Smith's building department, I don't like it. I'd bring it up to common council then, or
The best form is
like
always
how would someone handle that?
Yeah, the sort of simplest way is
Yeah.
to start by submitting.
Okay.
If you have like a question about a specific development project,
Sure.
those are all public records,
Mhm.
and the packet is a good,
Okay.
depending on what type of work is being done. So sometimes engineering issues a grading permit when there isn't like a development approval.
Sure.
It still gets reviewed for a natural resource.
Gotcha. Okay. So then for our next meeting, or you want to talk about it today on how to move it forward? You want to do that now? Because I get what you're saying and I'm on board. I don't want to say.
Well, so that's E, right? And I and E are kind of, isn't that E? Kind of tied together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do we have to look at this form first? Even to get to where we want to go, don't we have to
Yeah,
update this form?
I think so.
So, I mean, currently this is intended to be a document that you adopt as a recommendation to the Plan Commission. So we added in the information about the Natural Resource Protection Plan table. And then we added, so these criteria for approval are all from Article 9 of the Development Ordinance. So Article 9 is actually where those powers come from. It's the administrative processes. It was not wrapped into the text of the municipal code because it would be a duplicate, but I apologize for not more clearly including that information. Anyway, so these are the criteria that you're evaluating. This question of being self-imposed. We had a discussion about what that means. So this is the text of the ordinance. The Parks Commission's definition could be a condition created by the actions or choices of the applicant. Compliance with the strict provisions of the article. So then the other thing that's new here is the applicant response, which is what comes from the application form, staff comment. So when reviewing this, we think it does or does not align in any way, and then what is the commission say? And then ultimately what gets delivered to Plan Commission would be just the Parks Commission finding. I would probably retain the staff comment like in the staff report, but they will get or in their version of this form. They're going to version.
So if we did what I just suggested, this form becomes unnecessary. Which is
The
another-
planning commission
yeah.
wouldn't need it?
The Plan Commission needs to take
They
a
need their
decision.
own.
Yeah, they need their own.
We don't need to do this in
So
here.
I guess
And
we're
it's
agreeing
more
for
red
now
tape
then.
for a.
Just leave it.
Well, it's more red tape for someone who's trying to get a special exception. They got to fill this out for us, and then they got to fill out a different form for planning.
Do they have their
And-
own form?
Well, this is actually staff would prepare this. So they have to prepare one form, which was in your packet last
But it has to
session.
come to us for review and approval. So that, now if it goes back to just staff has to prepare it, I don't think we need to
Can we just make a motion and
look at it. I mean, I can make a motion. I'll make a motion. I'd like to make a motion that we remove the requirement for NRSC application form review.
Wait, hold on. Okay, remove requirement for NSRE application form?
NRSE
NRSE.
application form review from the Parks and Environmental Commission scope. And that we finalize our comments on
Parks?
our commission finalizes the City of Franklin Natural Resource Protection Plan guidance document.
National.
Here. NRPP guidance document.
Guidance document?
So read me what you have. Sorry.
Make a motion to remove the requirement for the NRSE application form review from the remove it from the Parks and Environmental Commission scope, and that the Parks Commission finalizes the NRPP guidance document.
Review. We finalize the review and send that forward to planning and zoning. So I still think we need to finalize the review of this document to be done with it.
So before we take a vote, really quick, the guidance document, or Miriam, this is a question for you actually. As it stands right now, if I came and developed something tomorrow and turned in my paperwork, this document is required, or is this not required?
We would still require a finding by
Okay.
this commission until the ordinance.
Okay, so
So-
this is this process of start to change that ordinance, correct?
Mhm.
Okay. We can talk about this too. I think we should word the motion a little bit different, so we still have I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Just so we don't jump the gun on getting rid of everything before the guidance is 100%
Okay, I
set.
accept friendly amendments. What are you suggesting?
Just a reword of it. Because I'm
To
on
what,
page with...
though?
can't you just state on the end of it?
See at the end,
At the end,
Once-
say,
Sure. Then let's set a date on let's get this guidance.
I'm unclear on what we're amending.
I don't think we should get rid of what we have existing until the guide is completely done.
So just
Until-
flip-flop the motion upon final review of the draft copy of the NRPP guidance.
Yes.
okay, hold on. EP,
Guidance document. Yeah, this plan guidance, this big
Yeah,
document here.
yeah, I know.
Upon our final review of this,
Then the motion,
we'll dissolve, can you scroll, I can't remember the names of these things. But if you can
dissolve
see
the
it.
requirement for the blah, blah.
Review by this commission of the
Natural Environmental Commission
natural
scope.
resource special exception.
So really the same as what you said, but just at the beginning of the
Correct.
motion.
That, I mean,
Upon
does that do
final
it,
review.
That's
Jesse?
perfect. Yeah, just so
So
we
you're
don't
saying,
like-
once this is done, then we can take this document out of our scope?
Agree, and then the NS already out of our scope is
I'm fine with that.
just because then it saves.
That's the
Susie,
motion.
could we get
Okay. Upon final review of the NRPP guidance document, a motion is then to dissolve the requirement for the NRSE application form review from the Parks Commission scope, and that the Parks Commission finalizes the NRPP guidance document. Once,
No, you
maybe
can
I
cross
can
that
leave
out.
that off at the
Yeah.
end. Okay, so just that the PN, let's see,
Glad you have that, John.
upon final review of the NRPP guidance document, then dissolve the requirement for the NRSE application form review from the Parks Commission scope, period.
Perfect.
Okay,
I second that.
wait, it's Amy's, motion?
Nope, you second, and then it's discussion.
open
And then it's
Or
open.
vote.
Oh,
What?
then it's open, okay.
Yeah.
Just a quick question. So then if the NRSE stuff, when that happens, when people request a, that, it goes planning then, and basically planning saying, here's our guide, this is what you need to stick to. And then there's things in the UDO that say, hey, if you don't follow this, you're done, correct? Or can't move forward?
Yeah, so ultimately the decision lies with Plan Commission, but it
Okay.
has to comply with this.
Gotcha.
So,
And then if it doesn't,
yeah,
Well, when we've talked in the past, isn't this to avoid it even coming to a commission unless it's filled out completely and accurate? Isn't that kind of what we've been saying the last few months? If it's not right, it shouldn't even get here. So it shouldn't
Yeah.
get there either.
So, if I may, that is what we have been saying, is that it ultimately starts with the staff. And if the staff get a document that's not filled out correctly or not following the ordinance, which you're the planning people for the city, so you are the best people, in my opinion, to review that the boxes are being checked. And if they're not, then it should be told to the applicant right then and there. You're not gonna, we can put this to planning and zoning if you want, but it's not gonna pass because you have not followed the guidance. You're not putting native grasses in, you're trying to put Kentucky bluegrass in there, and that's not a native grass. You gotta go back and, or whatever it is, like, that's what you,
yeah, that all makes sense. We occasionally are required to schedule so that someone can have their process that is incomplete, like there's timeline on this. So it will occasionally happen that we would have to schedule.
I mean, and
It
that's
seems
fine, that
reasonable.
does
Yeah.
happen, but
But that's the problem.
that's not our problem, yeah.
Okay, so we got the motion. You need a
Any
second?
more
Did
discussion?
somebody second?
I don't
I
know.
Kristen.
Yeah, it's been
Stanley's
motion and
Yeah.
second.
So Amy, who seconded?
I did.
Kristen? Okay.
So all those in favor?
Aye.
All those not in favor? And then I do have a remark. So as a commission, I think we should make sure we look into this guidance and everyone come back with edits, recommendations, everything, because we've probably had it for a while, the compensation.
Oh,
Yep. So we definitely come back with it. We can talk about it, so we can actually finalize it.
okay.
It's this, so
What's,
Right.
what's it say on top?
Is this draft, has it incorporated her changes
This one?
already?
Yep. So,
Okay, and I say that because it's
Yeah, oh,
an
yeah.
environmental
Oh, yeah.
heavy
Yep.
document.
So this would be.
And so
E.
to review it
Yep.
from our perspective,
Maybe.
we're looking at it more
Yeah.
from
Yep.
the process
So we have to
and
review that.
Yep.
formatting.
So
Okay.
then, yes.
yeah,
because
and if
this
there's
is-
suggestions you want to make as well, so
Right
I
off
mean,
the
you guys know your community
Oh.
better than I do. If there's
So
particular
this is from.
species of tree that you think is
So,
underrepresented,
yes,
or
and then
you
basically
know.
I mean, the
This is
city
kind of
forester
like the-
made comments last
the
time that he
UDO
reviewed the
simplified.
trees and he's the one that, and so.
Yep, exactly.
Again, that's what he gets paid to do for our city. I feel like that should be, we should be able to rely on that, you know? I understand what you're saying, but there's a little bit of too many cooks in a kitchen, and then also like, who's responsible when the soup's burned,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So we gotta get, that makes me uncomfortable, sitting on commissions where those are unclear. I do have, so we're on E now, right? We're moving on, because that's what this is.
Correct.
And I do have just a basic, so my comments and my draft, this have been incorporated into this updated draft that we were just sent. Since we have this, however, I started to look through the UDO and the references in the guidance to see if they were correct. And one of the things that became apparent on page 1 is we say the UDO protects 5 categories of natural resources. When you go to the UDO, there are 6 categories. We are naming them a little bit differently. Is there a reason for that? And if there is not, I think what has to happen is, and then when you go to, I just started to do this. When you go and you point to page 3, now we're talking about 6 again, that the UDO has 6. So someone needs to go through this and look at the UDO, and then instead of calling it, you know, woodland, surface water, wetland, shoreland, buffers, blah, 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 I think number 6 was natural resources defined by sewer pack. And so now it's number 5 in this document, make them match up. It's so much less confusing for people if you say
Especially,
there's 6 of them in the UDO, they're called this. You go to the UDO, you see 6, and they're called the exact same thing. I don't care which heading you pick, but it's
Good
very
catch.
confusing.
I
Very
think,
good catch.
yeah, I
Great
think
catch.
also, you paid someone to do this, I think,
Ugh.
the Birchwood,
Yeah.
so I would make them do it.
Unfortunately, that contract
It's
is
done.
Yeah.
ended.
Done.
I mean,
Wow.
it just takes somebody who, you don't have to know what you're doing, you just have to know, I look at this and I look at this, they don't match. How do I make them match? That's all. And then the other comment on page 15 is my motion. So table 4, I want to make a motion to send to planning and zoning, right? Oh no,
Should
common
we just
council.
say planning department?
What page are you on, Amy?
Page 15, table 4. I want to make a motion that the mitigation gets restored to the original compensation levels. And I put that text
Where's that?
in our last month's meeting. And I don't know what I need to do to like officially make this a motion.
So on the agenda, I added an item to do, so this is
It's
part
right
of
at the bottom.
the development work.
New
So-
business, right?
The commission
Yeah.
needs to propose to amend development.
Yeah, it's on item 2 for the agenda under new items, new business
So real quick,
Oh,
so
on the agenda.
we're kind of,
So wait, I don't even see it.
it's way at the bottom, proposal to revise, page 2.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
a
Right.
new business?
New
Yes.
business, yeah,
oh,
to change that
Okay.
table, right?
So,
That wasn't new business, but
so recommend we move that to now then. I mean, we're on the same page where that needs to happen.
Okay, is this the .75?
Yes, so it used to be, Amy help me with this, I have it written down somewhere.
1.5, and it got dropped to 0.75.
Yes,
So I want to make a
So
motion that it gets
instead of-
returned to 1.5.
So for every tree, they used to have to put 1.5 trees. Now for every tree, it's 0.75 trees, right?
Well,
Is that the math?
it's the way I understood this was not all the trees that are being taken down are worthwhile. I mean, there's dead trees, there's cottonwoods, there's,
Dead trees are habitat for lots of wildlife.
well, you can't replace dead trees. And I'm saying that's probably why they took the.
I don't think that's a requirement for a dead tree. Yeah.
So dead trees are not protected by the
Yeah.
ordinance.
They're not in the count.
No, what is measured by and what is required to be compensated is the area of the canopy. So the
But the
compensation
canopy
ratio.
can include box elder and cottonwood and garbage trees, so.
That's true. That's why you would ask that they replant with improved species. I think part of the rationale with lowering the ratio was also that it's difficult to do 1.5 to 1 on a site. So if someone is impacting the woodland, develop that lot, compensating with a greater amount of trees is going to be really tight and difficult to do.
I think at least a 1-to-1 then.
And that's certainly something that we can put forward as a request to Common Council. But when it comes to how it's measured, if the applicant wants to take the trouble of determining the woodland is all whatever, buckthorn, just say, they can certainly figure that out and then come back to the reviewers and say, these are all invasive. We could look at how that procedure would work. We don't protect it.
But if they're following this guide, it's because they can't follow the ordinance or they want a special exception to the ordinance to break into a natural resource that we have protected as a city. So we've protected whatever, this woodland, and we want to now put a garage on top of it.
But
So we're going to take that woodland out. So all I'm saying is instead of replacing, if you took, so let's say there's 40 trees in the woodland, you have to replace it with 40, a 1-to-1 rather than less. So whether it's a box elder or it's a whatever, it was protected. Part of the protection in the past probably said that they were also supposed to maintain that protected area. And so if it's full of buckthorn or shit trees, like you're saying, that's something that the applicant should have not let happen. So your point to me is moot.
Can I get some clarity on what you said too, Marion? I understand what you're saying if it's like we're replacing more than what exists, but we have other properties where we've been making changes as well, right? So wouldn't you just extend out in areas where we want to see improvement within the city on the lands that we own?
Yep. Excuse me.
Homicide mitigation.
So 1.5 could still be on the table. We would just have it at a different site.
Yep. And that, the way that the text of the ordinance is right, to do the off-site mitigation to determine, because then you have to evaluate questions. Does that mitigation go on city property? Does it go onto a different property owned by the applicant? Does need a little bit more review, but that is an option that we allow.
obviously the off-site mitigation. When we're talking about city space, are we quote unquote running out of mitigation space? Money everywhere, or improvements or room to add, right?
Currently, I can only think of one example of off-site mitigation.
Okay,
That was done
so it's
before.
not, it doesn't happen very often. Or
To
does it
not
happen?
historically.
Okay,
But the way the ordinance is written, someone's asking for a special exception. and the mitigation cannot be done on site because of land limitation, then the commission that's reviewing it, which we're now saying would be planning and zoning, has a basket full of options that they can suggest to say, okay, you don't have enough space to mitigate on this piece of property that you're developing, but hey, what about the backside of that swale in the park? Don't we want to put some nice species in there? So your mitigation can be to pay to fix that. Or what about this wetland retention pond behind the school? It's got a bunch of buckthorn. Your mitigation can be to clean, to pay to clean that out. That's what it's supposed to be doing. That's why you want your mitigation to be meaningful. That would be a meaningful thing, and it doesn't. That's why it's allowed off-site, because it's recognized that just making someone do something. Croatian Park, they wanted to put those lights in. We put a picnic table size area of protection along the back fence line for their mitigation.
Yeah.
It would have been much more meaningful to say, hey, you've got 10 big, huge oak trees. We want to put a protection barrier around 2 of those instead of that.
That makes a lot of sense.
And we have the ability to do that in our ordinance now. So that's a great improvement. But people have to understand that who are making those decisions. And then they also have to, know like, well, what would be a good option to offer them?
I agree.
And that's better for the whole city of Franklin.
Yeah, I agree. I think we've, at least I've seen, there's been a couple NRFCs that come through here where, like you said, they stuck you right in the corner. It didn't have it, it didn't mean anything. So I think I agree. At a minimum, at least 1.25, right? Because then at least we're on this commission to make the parks,
I would say 1.5
or
is what
1.5.
I mean, I
I'm
don't.
cool with
Yeah.
whatever. But our goal is to make, our parks, our environment better. That's the point why we're all here today.
Yeah.
So not even, not less, better.
Yeah.
So
It lines up with something I wanted to bring up too, Marion. A while back, it was in 2023, we got this map that showed all of the city land, and I know it was because we were working on the procurement of the Southwest Park. I'm wondering if we could get an updated one for record, and we also received this Excel spreadsheet that had the acreage and the lots that butted up with the map, which I think is really helpful, so we have a better picture from the environmental and park perspective of where all that, because I don't think you guys have received this.
I don't think I've
What
never
is
seen
that?
that before.
This is the Franklin-owned parcels, and then the spreadsheet that shows the parcel IDs and the acreage.
Not all of those lots are zoned as parkland, and
Sure.
places they are.
Right.
I know some of them, there was the email traffic about putting the do not trespass signs up on it in 2023. That's memory jogger.
But those
But,
would be the spots for mitigation, is
Right.
what you're trying to say. Yeah, absolutely. Or one part of what you're trying
So
to say.
why I was going to send you an email about it, but it kind of is relevant, and I would say that would make the 1.5 ask very doable.
Is that something that members of Plan Commission know is an option to give to a developer, where the developer may think that they can only, because it's their property and they can only do work on their property, and not know that improving the community at large is, a bucket that they can access in that regard?
I'm not sure what their current knowledge level is, but it was also allowed under the previous ordinance. So, as I said, there's been one previous example. So they've
We add it to the guide too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, throw it right in there and clear
It
as
lines up
day.
with
Yeah.
impact fees. If we have a listing of areas where we think we would like to see some kind of improvement, we could have that readily available when the opportunity comes up. Then you can present it to the project manager. Good thing.
That's a great idea. to have a wish list of improvements on those lands, and then when you get a developer that doesn't have the space for mitigation, you could offer that right at the beginning. That would be wonderful, and then it's thought out ahead of time, instead of like, oh, let's throw them over here on this piece of property to meet the requirement.
And just out of curiosity, and just a question, is that when it's an environmental exception that we're mitigating, like, I'm not sure, you said it and I'm not sure like, of it, like people are paying to have our stuff fixed or whatever. I'm wording this so, but is that how that works? Or are they footing the bill of the city making it better? Are they doing it? How is that working in mitigation? Or has that ever happened before? Or is that new area? You know what I'm trying? I'm sorry. I'm really doing a poor job.
Yeah, so you're asking, does the city do the work or do they contract out?
Yeah, or even like when it comes to that option,
Yeah.
are they writing a check or are they contracting it? Has that happened before? What's going on?
In the one previous example that I'm aware of,
Okay.
The applicant paid for the city to install additional trees.
Okay.
So there's like a set dollar amount that the city charges
Sure.
developers for
Okay.
trees, and they wrote a check for that.
Okay.
In the case of something like wetland restoration or enhancement, that's not something that anyone in the city is qualified to do.
Sure.
It would have to be contracted.
Okay.
But we don't close the door because the city doesn't have qualified staff for that.
Right.
That should still be an avenue for a developer to say, okay, if I'm impacting a natural wetland, and I'm going to do my mitigation efforts via a wetland, I'm going to do that. Oh, okay, I have to break out the checkbook as opposed to, or I have to find a contractor to do this as opposed to just going to the check.
Who decides what kind of trees?
It's in the UDO.
It's in
right?
this,
Yeah,
no.
or in the guide.
It's in the guide, and the city forester last meeting said he's the one that reviewed these trees.
Yeah, but who actually decides that he's not going to put all those trees there?
We
Who
would
actually
typically
decides what
review
kind
a
of trees?
landscape plan that would include a plant list. They're part of the natural resource
Bushes are also included in that.
Yeah, so any plant that is being planted, in the case of offsite mitigation, I'm not really sure what it would look like, but we would probably ask that a landscape plan be developed for the site that's being restored. In some cases, people would just use like a broadcast seed mix, in which case a bunch of wet meadow stuff here, but
I still feel that they shouldn't be responsible to replace things that aren't worth replacing. I think the 0.75 or a 1 on 1 or just 1 to 1. I don't think we have to go overboard and penalize people.
I think if the developer wanted to go as far as doing a tree survey to verify that the woodland was not valuable, then that would be reasonable. But that would be their responsibility to affirmatively demonstrate. We always require that they provide evidence that their request is. So they would be responsible. Yeah, like otherwise how would you know?
Well, I think I've been in practically every woods in the city.
I believe that.
I know there are a lot of trees that are not worth replacing. And bushes. Okay. What the hell are you saying?
So I'll make a motion then. Actually, Amy, do you want to motion it? Because you're good at putting.
Go ahead, you can do it.
Okay.
I already started one last time.
Oh, did you? Okay, well, I would like to motion that we make, let me word this right before you write it down. I'd like to make a motion to revise the woodland compensation ratio, and then in parentheses, UDO table 15-7.
And that says 03, but this says 02. Am I on the wrong table?
No, that's the table in the guide,
So
and
this
he's
isn't-
talking about the table in the UDO. They should match, right?
It said,
Should be, yeah.
Can you read?
Pull it out for
I can.
Can you read these?
To do what? The-
So
Pull out
this
the
is in the
table.
UDO, which is
I
the
think you
law.
put it in your pre-
okay.
This is
The
the
one in
guy.
UDO?
Yeah, the one
And
that's actually
when
signed.
they did this, it was.
So should this say?
I
No, we
believe
got the
so.
wrong.
I think you can
Alright.
just say the natural
This is
resource
page
compensation
Yeah.
table.
Okay, revised woodland
Page 15.
natural resource compensation
Mm-hmm. And UDO table, just to cover
and
that
UDO table.
they're in both.
Okay. To, if you revise the UDO table to,
required for impacts. Wood, or sorry, proposal
Yeah,
to revise
I
woodland
think it'll be
compensation
okay to
ratio on the
Noah's the one
table
in charge of my
um,
time, so.
to
From 0.75
yeah, from 0.7
to,
to 1.
revise the woodland natural resource compensation ratio on the table, on the compensation table and UDO table. Is that correct?
It was originally 1.5, right?
And it
So
got
is it-
snuck in.
Isn't it
This is where you're
revert
talking
to
about
back
right here.
to 1.5?
I don't know, because when UDO was updated, I don't know if the draft version or back up.
Oh,
So then they're gonna say, oh, they would have to go back to the previous UDO,
Combine
Got
the
it.
two
which we
meetings
could
since
say
last
that.
2 hours
to
okay,
say,
that makes
yeah.
sense now. Yeah.
And
now. Before it used
well, Mary, you know what? We have too many boards and commissions,
to, yeah.
so that's why I did what I did. And I stand by that. And I've got more things I want to get.
So I wrote the motion.
Motion to revise the woodland natural resource compensation ratio. What do I want to say, in the plan guidance, in the UDO table?
I would say in both the UDO and in the
Yeah, which you have already.
NRPP guidance document.
What kind of guidance? Plan protection plan?
Yeah, NRPP guidance.
Oh, NR,
Natural Resource Protection.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
From
Same thing
0.75
as-
to 1.5, okay.
Correct. I second it.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those not in favor?
You're not in favor? Okay.
The motion still passes.
Aye.
The motion passes then. One second. All right, so, now we're on letter F, littering fines. So what I did last meeting, I looked at Greendale, Greenfield, New Berlin, and Muskego.
Did you want us to move to something else?
No, 'cause I have something on this one, and then the next one, and the final one, but I've got to leave in about 8 minutes, because I'm already gonna be late for 8 o'clock, but what I'm saying is, do this one, because I'm concerned about this.
Okay, yeah,
And then I
so.
talked to Jason, I talked to Kevin, so.
Yeah, so basically, a couple meetings ago, we figured out that Franklin didn't actually have any municipal code in residential or commercial littering, not dumping, littering. And what we talked about before and sent letters before was a lot of the times, especially on Loomis, there's a lot of commercial traffic to the dumps, and you'll see garbage bags, plastic, stuff flying out, right? And I think, as everyone knows, a lot of Franklin PD on Loomis. So we're proposing essentially to match some of our neighboring cities' municipal code of littering, to prevent basically.
So if I could interject real
Yeah.
quick on that. So right now, if you're a Franklin police officer and you are patrolling Highway 36 and you see a truck spilling garbage or whatever, that's a citation. It's a Wisconsin state citation. It's a unified traffic citation, a UTC, for spilling waste or load on roadway.
Okay.
So that's what you write to any truck or vehicle
Doing that.
that. So you have that. Now, to your point, we would then, you could, that when it goes in front of the judge, if it's appealed, it could be reduced to a local ordinance littering, or it could stay that. Now, let's say you have some of these trucks that are going to the dump and they're flying, they're spilling crap all over the place. Now you can write that to owner, not operator. So that means the driver doesn't get the citation, but the company does, depends who loaded it. So these are already set, the police already have those tools. It's about being able to enforce that because they have to see it. So that's the problem. But to your efforts, yes. I mean, let's get something more with some more teeth, but at least you know it already exists.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
it's
so on a
already
state
it's
level
already
it exists.
it's already a normal traffic citation, like a
Okay.
speeding citation, seatbelt,
Sure.
reckless driving. It's right there. Spilling of load or waste on roadway.
Okay.
So it does exist.
Okay. And then another one was, which I think is probably a tough one, is like literally seeing someone, whatever, walking, riding their bike, whatever. We also, to my understanding, don't have anything well. How much it would be enforced is not in our control, but we'd love to see, or at least I would, that being in paper, at least. So that's the end
Agreed.
goal with that. So I guess with that, I don't know if you guys want me to write up a recommendation to whoever we have to, or write it together, or whatever.
So there isn't a littering fine.
So there's the state codes
Yeah, which
for
was, yeah.
moving vehicles and
Yeah.
everything. And then, but there's no municipal code for, like, what's a good word? I don't remember.
Littering.
Littering, yeah.
And I think one of the places just to add is that it would be most useful is in the because there
Okay.
is
It
kind of
happens.
the issue with
Yeah.
littering. Treatment of
Is this also to be enforced by the police?
So the police can charge you if you're throwing stuff around the park?
Yeah, but they
Oh, the
serve.
police
Yeah.
can. Oh.
Not us. No, I ain't going. I ain't
you guys get
No.
a ticket book, right?
Thank you all. Have a good
Great.
day.
Thank you.
Police can say.
Citizens.
I don't,
So what is there to write? I don't know. What
I
there is to
don't
write.
know where this
Nothing.
goes. Mary, where does this go?
So you would need to amend the municipal code.
Okay.
So I think what would be appropriate is I didn't go through the information that you provided here,
Okay.
and I'm just putting it in the packet.
Sure.
What would be helpful is to maybe put together a table of like, here's what the language is,
Sure.
the text of the ordinance, and then the fine,
Okay.
and
And
why do we want that? Is this gonna be posted somewhere?
so that you can make a recommendation to common council about which version of that you think would fit best for Franklin. So like,
because currently there's nothing. If
Yeah.
I
But there's the state code. That's where I'm confused.
that applies to like drivers.
But I just thought he said the police can cite you if you're in the park littering.
if we adapt
Yeah.
a new law.
Oh, only if we have a new law?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So if I show up at Lions Legend and I eat my McDonald's
And you just
and I just
toss it.
I just throw it on the ground and walk away,
Mhm.
like someone said, "Hey, pick that up."
Right.
Like I don't want it.
Okay.
Then that's it. Like
But I thought the police could come and say to you, hey, no.
there
not
isn't
listed.
any.
There isn't.
code.
I thought he
Yep.
said there was. Okay.
Yeah, that's. I think that's where there's the
So yeah,
disconnect.
so I got confused if there was on
Oh,
motorways.
okay.
Because we see, but that's covered by the state, but locally, we're not covered.
So would want to change littering in park.
In general, but we see it worse in the parks. So that's where we're kind of getting.
Okay, general littering.
But we hope that it's worse in the parks. Because that's where it probably happened.
Okay.
You know, you either see trash get thrown out people's windows or at parks.
Yep.
So, all right, I'm cool to move on there.
So do we have to do it?
No, I'll put together a table this time with the language and the fine, and then we can once we on what we think. Send it to.
Or hazard?
Yep.
It'll probably be something that would be sent up to the city attorney.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then either any sort of changes recommended.
So would you recommend I copy and paste?
I was just gonna say, would it be easier for Jesse to pick which one of these, because you've already put them together?
Yeah.
Milwaukee, Oak Creek, Greenfield. Which one of these you think best serves Franklin, and then copy and paste it,
yeah.
and then just,
I would say so.
I would,
That's
that's what
fine.
I would do too.
I think the common council will ask to see like all of the information.
Sure.
So if you want
Okay.
putting it in table or document. Here's what Oak Creek says, here's
Okay.
their fine. Here, we like, you know, McGuanago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Then I'm good on that. You guys good to move forward? So I think we're looking for an update on the Ernie Lake Park.
Yep, so this item went to common council and they, approved directing staff to undertake, there has to be like a public noticing process and then a public comment period so that folks know that this change has been proposed and then the final resolution comes
Sure.
back. So we need to get started on that.
So does that go out like in the little local newspaper or what?
Yeah, so I need to figure out which type of notice is required, but it will be published in the paper of record. I don't notice maybe the folks around in the park, but
Okay.
Has there been any issues from anybody?
I mean, so far everyone seems
Okay.
and Mary spoke at public
Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jesse asked me to. Also, after it was approved, I asked that the sign be done as soon as possible so I could take a picture of it and frame it because
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to last till the dedication.
But it's families.
I
And
can-
does he know that it's?
Came to the council meeting
Oh,
Oh.
okay. Well, then at
with a
least he
walker and
knows.
oxygen.
And his family would know.
We bumped it up in the agenda order. as
Yeah.
we needed. Just thank you for also letting me know about that so I could.
Because he said he was running out of oxygen.
So what we can do, I'm gonna give you guys the
So he can't
what
make the
generation
sign
am I? Gen
until.
Z?
I don't know. I know
Yeah,
I'm
it
a
has to
baby
be
boomer.
finalized.
I know
Yes.
everybody
Just
else
what
There's
is.
generation?
also, we'll have to figure out how to get it.
2002. We're Gen
Well,
Z,
how
right?
do we fund any sign in our parks?
It's part of the parks
Year 24.
23, yeah.
limits.
Yeah,
to
I'd
that.
like to talk about that too.
So
Your
what we
grandma.
can do,
Get to that.
I can use AI to make one, and you can. So at least it exists, right? At least a picture of it. I know it doesn't have the statute,
Can we do that though?
but I can make it. I can do it right now.
I
can do it in
don't
30
need to know.
seconds. But
I think it has to look like the other
oh,
parks.
it will look. I can make it look exactly like every other park. I promise you.
I wouldn't recommend.
I would.
All right, then.
That's
that
a nice
that was my
gesture.
Gen Z.
It is nice.
But
He knows
Yeah.
it was approved. I think that's great. And
Yeah.
his family knows.
how long
so-
will that take?
The noticing period usually requires, like
Okay.
a minimum, well, it's 30 days for class 1.
So it could,
And it's class 2?
I don't know.
I think it's
I think a sign in a park.
There never was any sign up there at all
At all.
with a name. So it's not really renamed.
Yeah, I don't know. So I did try to research like what was the source of the name, and could not find anything.
You know, the kids in the neighborhood named it.
They did. That's okay.
Yeah.
Background and couldn't figure it out. Only a very little though. So if you guys know the history.
So can the notice be in the next, what am I trying to say? The next
Newsletter? That little
letter,
local
the
paper,
city
is that
letter
where it
that
goes?
comes out?
The newsletter.
That's
Oh.
actually the paper of record's called the South Now. There's like a specific newspaper we have to publish it in.
You're
so-
kidding.
Yeah, that's state law. So
Really?
When does it come out next?
it publishes weekly. The notice has to be drafted. So I haven't got.
That it was
Can you prioritize that for this, because it's been going on
Yeah.
a long time? I know you got a lot of list of stuff to do, but it would be nice to get that done for.
Thanks.
What I can.
There
For
you go.
Tony,
Make it happen.
Jesse returns to the girls.
Beautiful. Okay.
All right, is this, we're on I now?
H.
Park facilities.
Is this the one that I wrote?
I think so.
Can I only got a hold of New Berlin. Can we table this till I get a hold of Muskego and Milwaukee?
All right, so I have to say this before we start. The attorney asked us all when we discussed this that we do not make any accusations, that we only talk about the things that are legitimate on paper that have a trail. So we do not make the situation that the city's in worse, and that we talk about things that we have known or that are on paper that we know that are factual. So I know that we've all heard outside things, seen outside things as well. But for this discussion, for this purpose today, why it's on here, we're requesting this to have the correct information before anything is said, right? Is everyone on the kind of the same page on that?
Yeah, and I personally don't know why we need to discuss it. We are.
I'm not comfortable even talking about it. I mean, it's going before the courts.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
If you do not want to be part of the conversation or even be present, you can vacate your chair during the conversation, then rejoin the committee after the item has been closed, at least for tonight, and then you can rejoin for anything else that is being discussed. So that way then it removes yourself from any sort of possible liability. So if you'd like to
I would
vacate,
really like to talk
So
about the
let's
finance though.
let's do
I don't
that,
wanna-
and then we'll move that
So-
one up, and then we can talk about it. That works,
Thank you.
because that's the only last item left,
Okay. And then we can leave.
and then you guys can leave. Yeah,
Yeah, as long as you have a quorum.
that's
I would stay.
would.
I'm leave.
I don't even know what we're talking about it.
Well, let's just move up the first one, and then we can go from
The Park Finance.
there. Yeah,
That's fine.
at least get through that.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I have not had a chance to review the materials that were provided in your packet, but the Director of Finance provided quarterly financials for the commission from the third quarter of 2025. So like I said, I haven't looked them over, not reviewed on them, but
Well, I looked them over. Okay, he has, the second page, you have the expenditures for up to the third quarter. I mean, these are 6 months old.
What's it titled on the second page, Mary?
It's with the-
Okay, all I'm looking at is expenditures. I don't care about budget, any of that. And the bottom line that he's got here is net expenses on pages aren't numbered. On the page that is the expense statement, the bottom line he's got is 513,000, and he's got a different number here. It's $30,000 off. And when I combined all these expenses here, I have a total for like 6 million. I don't understand why these numbers are here, but they're not in the total. And I don't understand what he's putting here for encumbrances. He's subtracting that down on the bottom encumbrances. He's subtracting out $3 million. And that's another expense. Really not to be subtracted out of there. What are encumbrances? To me, they're expenses. They're more expenses that are bundled together.
it's an expense for the future. Like this money is set aside for the purpose.
Okay, even with that taken out though, my total is,
Sorry, which
those
column are we
taken
on?
out. Well,
Third
I'm
column.
I'm doing all the current, which is the current, which is up to the third quarter. I'm doing the expenses. And all of those numbers, like personnel services, park maintenance, uniforms, mileage, landscaping, park expenses and supplies, taking all of those expenses out, I mean, adding them together and subtracting out what they have in there as impact transfers, I come up with $1 million. I think these statements are deceiving, and I don't understand why they're being done this way. I understand that they're coming out of different funds, general fund and the capital fund and development fund, but they're still all park expenses. And that's what we need a total on. We don't just need all these separate little totals in there.
But remember, some are operating budgets, some are capital budgets,
Right.
have to be kept separate. Treat them as different. Like operating expenses, which is the general fund, I have to keep separate because I can't.
And I
Go
understand
into
that's
capital.
fine for you, but the
Right.
park commission should know the total. We should have a total that's being allocated to parks,
Oh, I see what you're.
even if they're coming from different places.
Right. Yep.
I don't care.
I just want to make sure you where I was.
So, just being clear, you'd rather see like more of an executive summary than line item, line item, line
No,
item?
I want to see the line items. I just
Okay.
don't need them differentiated as far as, well, we do probably. We need to know what fund they're coming out of, but I need a final total on the bottom. And that final total that's down there, double lines underneath it, is not 513,000. It's really $1 million.
I see what you're saying.
1,068,000.
Yeah, so the total expenditures, what is that before the impact fee?
And I'd like the encumbrances explained. Those expenses out now.
Sometimes they are part of a contract that has yet to be executed. There's a variety of reasons that happen. You know that you're going to be spending, $500.
Well, then it
Two
shouldn't be a subtraction from what is the actual expenses are listed there.
This is a typical approach for like government accounting. They do it when the contract is executed. So
I'm an accountant. I did corporate profit and loss statement years. And to me is so deceiving.
it is, the approach is different from corporate accounting. It's not something that I'm well versed in, but there is, because spending happens in a different way over time and the overall, like, there's no profit to be considered really. It does happen.
Well, profit is your impact fee. There is a profit.
Those are, it doesn't quite work that way under GAAP, but like, I would let Danielle explain that better. It's not my area of expertise. But I do hear what you're saying about how to show this all as the gross expenses, not the net.
Right. But still itemized.
Yeah, this is what the Common Council typically sees and how they prepare them. I'm not totally sure why it's formatted exactly this way, but
So, is there a discrepancy or is there not in the numbers?
No,
Is this not accurate?
It's accurate. It's just not the total that we need to look at. We need to look at what's spent on parks. A total, not totals for different funds.
We used to also get a complimentary Excel spreadsheet with the parks items
Yes.
identified, and I have some older version copies of that.
Yes.
Which we don't have, to which then we would create a document of our own to have wish list, expenditures, and then we prioritize that list. And I feel like we've done that since 2023.
yeah, you went through a budgeting process. Has not occurred. Partly because
Well, it's the Wisconsin state statute that the Parks Commission makes a recommendation every October for the expenditures for parks, which we haven't been. Yeah.
And what's our impact fees? I
Right, if-
see there's a list of impact fees, but what is what we have to do in 2025?
yeah, what needs to be. So my understanding of where the impact fees are just broadly is that they are accounted for through 20. But I realize that I was just.
I think more so than the budget is the capital improvement plan. Out by years, we have up to 2027 is the last document that we received, is the Parks Commission. But if there's been updates to the numbers for that, that's probably something we would want to work with. But at least that gave us an idea of year-to-year projected costs. Is that what you're saying?
Well,
You guys
I'm
wanna
not
see
even
it?
saying so
What it
much
looked
the
like?
projected. I'm saying what was spent too. We need an accurate number of.
And here, this is from Parks.
We didn't have Arctic Avenue.
So are we?
No, no.
No, we don't.
I'll ask for it on the next agenda.
Yeah, this is one of those consolidation things. This was,
I just never made it.
stopped doing
on
it
our
after
desk.
we,
Okay.
I get the entire
Consolidated
budget
in-
as a whole, so it's
but there is this 5-year plan, then there's the spreadsheet with the projections, then we would get the budget, then we also got,
All at different times.
yeah, times. And then we had a spreadsheet that we would contribute our recommendations for prioritizing where we spend the funds. So the last time we really used that was when we funded Kayla's playground ground replacement. That was bumped up to the top, and then
Yeah.
that took all of our resources for that year.
That
was like
5
two-
years.
Yeah, it
Or
was like,
10 years.
that was in 2023 is when we replace it. It was every 10 years, the ground needed to be. That was a 250,000, I
It was
think.
up there. I think it came in at 209. I just read it 20
Yeah.
minutes ago, so I was like, holy cow, it's a lot of money for
So
it.
we had
I'll figure it out.
200,000, but
Yeah.
we had other things on there like citywide signage. We had the ice rink. We had, and then some of this stuff falls into the other categories. So like tax levies paid for some of the equipment that was necessary. Am I right?
Yeah, so the impact fees are separate from the general.
How far do the impact fees go back that we have to spend?
There are
10 years or?
That was resolved through the parkland acquisition study that you guys worked on. So you're actually now, the city is ahead in terms of spending them down. They're essentially accounted for through. Like we've used up enough that we don't have to make a new plan. So we're thinking
Is it 10 years or is
it's the holding period is
7?
8 years. It's not 10. 10 was a unique circumstance. We're not.
How are they being spent?
So the recommendation, a significant portion of them was spent on the purchase of the Southwest Park. And then the priority has been sales set by that land acquisition study. And yeah, they, generally speaking, that's how they're going. So in the new water tower park also. Some of the work there.
so are they going to do the trails at Water Tower Park then?
I mean, eventually. I don't know the current status of.
It says they spent $47,000 last year and $5,000.
Yeah, the 47 was towards, from the impact fees. It seems that it went towards the one here, the Southwest Park purchase. Right?
Here it's,
This is not from this year. $47.
Water
Yeah,
Tower
that's
Park.
different. Oh, yeah. Water
And
tower.
it says 55,000 was spent on Water Tower Park this year.
So
The
there's
exact
different
same
areas
47,000 number.
No, it's different. 4765, which was from,
Okay. So it's fees.
So what are we getting
you
for
pay when
$100
you
grand
go.
at that Water Tower Park? It looks like it's still a water tower under construction.
Yeah, it does.
yeah,
And that's about it. And it's not for the construction of the water tower, right? That's not park.
No.
no.
So what did they spend that money on?
The maps that I just had. They had a plan for it.
Also, it says Forest Home Trail, we spent $97,000 on. Is that a trail or a sidewalk?
Yes.
97,000
$97,000 last year.
500.
for first.
This was the recommended
sidewalk
plan
or
for
a
the
trail?
Water Tower Park.
What's it?
This is, I've never seen this. I really do.
It's a concrete trail, right? But it's still a trail.
Four stone? Yeah.
It's asphalt. Okay, hard surface.
Is that
Or
We always
Ryan.
put hard surface.
That's Ryan.
Yeah.
$2 million.
Oh, you always do? Oh, okay.
The only one that isn't is
$2 million.
That's a stone.
Okay.
Some golf course?
60th to St. Martin, isn't that?
They
a
were
sidewalk?
usually asphalt.
proposing that disc golf
Yeah.
course
Oh.
there, but that got taken out of the.
Did it?
So those were the three suggested plans.
Oh, okay.
$1
Lining up with that too,
60th to St. Martin's is it?
Lover's Lane
Is that what's running along Highway 100?
Yeah. That's it.
Marion, not budget related,
That cost $1 million.
but could you add this to
I
the
don't know.
request
It's
too, to
interesting.
get an
No, it
updated
costs $1.289
City of Franklin trail planning
Oh,
image like
yeah,
this?
for sure.
I only have the 2022, and I think that might be helpful because we do have a lot more trails that have been added.
For the lovers. Martin, $1.2 million. I need to get a contract and make a trail.
That's,
That was last year.
Yeah.
See what we paid on.
Oh yeah, that's 2024. You're right.
Yeah,
And then it's more.
yeah. Plus
1.75 million.
And that's
again?
only to September. And it seems to me that work was all being done in the winter. After September.
Where they're doing the trail.
That's $2.5 million
From,
for a trail on Lovers Lane, 60th to St. Martin's. $2.5 million? Who approves like that? That's ridiculous. I'm sorry. If this made more sense to me, I would be like, I know things are expensive,
Does
but
that sound reasonable to you? That it cost that much? It was a really long trail,
how long is it?
miles.
3 miles?
Yeah, it's quite a bit.
So 3 miles.
I'm guessing 3 miles.
Yeah,
Well,
and,
and-
I mean, let's just do the math on
Costs
what
quite
we're
a bit.
paying for asphalt.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if that figure includes the next stretch going across and
No, this is what was spent.
Well, they did put a fence
we
in
haven't really paid all of it.
that goes over that.
So they
Bills
paid,
are still
they
coming
paid
in
from
for
water.
the top of Rawson and Loomis,
Yep.
all the way down Loomis,
Yeah,
turned on Ryan. And then where does it go from Ryan?
St. Martin's, 60th.
Okay, that's pretty far.
They're adding 76 down. Wow, that just got
Okay.
approved in the last meeting, right? They've got a portion that's like a gap they're
So,
filling down.
to put in a sidewalk?
I mean, it does
76
make
going
sense.
down to like the hideaway area, or that
with
community right
Wisconsin
behind the
Department of
hideaway
Transportation,
area. Doesn't
or is
have
it
to
kind
be
It
of
might be
out?
private.
north of it?
So
That's
From
where
Carver.
I
I'll,
wonder.
I'll throw
Oh,
my
that's
2
right.
cents into it.
Yeah,
I'm
because
a
it's
sa-
just
I'm a
missing
sand
that one
background
area,
contractor
right?
As well.
Yeah.
98%
And eventually,
of the time,
everything leads up to
government
Oak Leaf
contracts
Trail, right?
are
And
worth
then
your time.
it'll be
Local,
accessed
Oh,
state.
yeah.
straight through
Federal.
Franklin from Hales Corners all the
Yeah.
way down
Like
to
we mow the grass. at the
Will it go
Coast
to
Guard.
Oak Leaf Trail?
all the way up.
60th.
Well, if I put my
On
sand
Ryan
back
Road.
Yeah.
contract in there, they probably would have to take
And
me.
Pew's
made
Road will
sense.
connect.
I'm
That's not
white,
budget
but if I
related.
was
And a woman?
a brown woman, I could get that
And what
contract,
kind of
and I could charge. It
uniforms
doesn't
do
have
we
to be
have
based
that
on
were
the lowest bid either.
$700?
It's based on,
Mhm.
so
That's
I get
uniform
that. I
allowance.
understand.
Our guys at
You're paying
our shop,
more money.
they're allowed,
You could do
uniforms.
minority-owned business,
they're,
couldn't you?
no, they
I
get the
do-
uniform allowance.
And
I have
then
a
you get
couple
They buy
contracts and
food,
stuff
their
like that,
coats.
right?
Okay.
So-
So I understand that, but I'm still saying like,
Yeah.
And the utilities? Are those
yikes,
in all the buildings?
that's a lot of
But
money.
there's a lot of excavation. that went
Utilities,
into
yeah,
Yeah.
the
I know, I
electric,
guess I didn't realize it
gas.
was
In
that
each
far.
Yeah.
pavilion.
pavilions, yep. Historical Society,
South Lovers
comes out of
Lane,
there.
6
sewer, we have to have anything
It's right
pumped
there,
for
right?
sewer bills, water
No,
bills.
it says South Lovers Lane 60th.
That's the Milwaukee Sports Complex.
Yeah, that's where,
That's where the Oak Leaf Trail.
That's from
finishes.
there,
Ends, yeah.
and then it goes to 116th Street.
that's helpful.
Which is like
Where does it cross 36?
at
Here,
what's that ice cream parlor and the dance studio?
It doesn't,
Yeah.
where the
It's-
old Hodaks.
Across from where like,
I don't think it
the
crosses.
Citgo
Isn't it by
was.
Walgreens?
Yes,
That
it
got
crosses,
torn down
crosses?
recently.
That's.
It goes
isn't it
across
in
there?
it crosses at
On
the
what-
Oh, and it
100?
keeps, oh, I know where that
And then
balloon
Peters
place
Town.
is.
At which intersection?
Gift of Wings.
Yeah.
Loomis and 100.
Right, that's where it
Okay.
goes
Okay.
and then
By the
Intersection.
Walgreens?
160.
A kitty corner.
Oh, I remember
Car
seeing that
dealership.
little spur. Okay.
Yes, yes. Well,
Okay.
Our impact fees, in amount here is getting added in there twice.
Right. Oh, this is less impact fee transfer.
That's for capital improvement fund. No.
So that means they're taking the impact fees and putting them into a different pot of money to pay for this pot of money, capital improvement. It came out of the capital.
Okay,
Are we done?
are we
That's
not
what I wanted
talking
to
about?
No.
I don't know
What's
what we're-
this, what do we want, an update, a better summary, what do we want in this?
we want all the expenses totaled.
I also might recommend that you bring this back for us, the budget worksheet, so we can start to annotate the ideas for where we would spend money. And then if we brainstorm all of our current ideas as a newly formed consolidated group, we can apply this to the budget as it becomes more clear to us.
I would be happy to talk to whoever's in finance on what we would like.
That actually would be constructive, I think, since you probably be better able to
It's good.
explain what you're looking at than I would.
Who would I talk to?
It's Danielle.
I don't think anyone wants to talk.
Last name?
Brown.
Brown.
She's ready to go. Yeah, I can talk to Mary. It's all public information.
Upstairs or downstairs?
Upstairs.
Okay, I will do that.
Back by where you pay your
There's
taxes.
some discrepancies.
Oh, really?
So where we talk about it doesn't.
Right in there?
I
Or?
just wanted-
Treasurer's office, like the next
It's
door.
public,
And last thing for
So I could-
budget too,
I could ask you. to-
is it possible to do a capital improvement form for the next fiscal year for our software upgrade so that we could get that?
For 2027?
Yep.
What is that? I didn't hear that.
Oh, sorry.
What are you asking for?
Request to the city to provide us with the capital improvement request form for a software
Done.
request. Yeah.
Capital improvement.
Even if it doesn't get approved, at least we asked for it.
Capital improvement software.
For the software for running reservations,
Oh, that'd be so nice.
right? If it's due by October, we should start now.
I asked for that from the mayor, and the mayor says he's got 3 clerks in that office who are more than willing to take reservations.
That's not what they said when they came to see us, though.
He didn't say that. No, he said that when I asked him. He didn't say that to them, though.
I think he did say it that one time when he. But okay, and then I'm tabling the next stuff. I'll just.
Aye.
So I don't have to motion that. Then that's everything.
Well, that's, you're going to discuss that.
No, we're
Just
just
tabling it.
table it and be done with it.
Table it. I don't want to discuss it next
Or
time
that's
either.
fine. I won't. I'll take it off.
Table
the
it
agenda.
and not bring it back.
Or take
That's
off.
fine,
How about
yeah.
take off one?
Table, and then I won't include it in the next agenda.
Okay.
I make the motion we.
Yes, I just want to make one quick comment. So next time, let's, as a commission, try to get a huge gap on the guidance form done. So really, really look over that.
Okay, to do that.
Yep.
Do we need, is the UDO in here also that we have to,
Well,
because you
it
did
seems
that
like a,
comparison and,
I started to do that, and I wanted to just, is that something that you, the staffers, can do?
I can't promise that I can get it done by your. This mission is an important part of what I do, but it is not my priority in the office.
No, I get it.
So,
But, I mean, it's like I give comments and then 2 months, we can't even get them updated. I don't see that it's worth everyone's time to do the same comparison of.
I agree with you.
I think that we have to have somebody doing that.
I'm not knowledgeable.
And you don't even have to be. You just have to look and say, okay, UDO says it has 5 categories.
But
Look at
I
appendix
wouldn't
7
have
of
thought
the
to-
UDO.
I wouldn't have thought to look in the UDO. I'm reading it as.
Any document that references another document should
Should match.
match
Was it in
up.
here? Was it in here?
So this is the document we're reviewing, and it's referencing Article 9 of the UDO, Article 7
Yeah.
of the UDO, Section
I guess I would have assumed
15
it was
of the
correct.
UDO, blah, blah, blah. So one of the things that should happen always is that you take
Well-
that and you make sure that the things that your references are correct.
It sounds like.
It doesn't seem like something our commission should do, is my point. It seems like something
Oh,
that
was
the
group
city
that-
should have already done or had Birchline do, and that ship has sailed. So now what do? I mean, yeah, unfortunately, in my opinion, it falls on the city staff to do that clerical work. Is there not any administrative assistant or somebody clerically that can do that?
I can't speak for anyone else's time, but I will have a conversation with the planning manager about trying to make sure it's.
Yeah, I wish the mayor was here because he is in charge of all that staff, and without getting the support to follow through, if there's not enough time, then it's like, well, maybe we should just meet every other month or every 3rd month.
Yeah.
Because that's all we can get done, because you guys don't have time to do it. I'm not trying to pick on you, Marion. I'm just saying, like, I have a lot of crap to do too. I'm volunteering here. So are all of these people. And so if you don't have time to do the clerical stuff or get someone to do it, maybe we should meet every other month. Or maybe we should, I don't know. That makes sense to me.
Well, when our meetings last 2 hours, I don't think we should put it off till every other month, because we're here 4 hours.
I know, but I guess what I'm trying to say is if we had more city work time to take care of some of the things that we discuss, they could go faster, because we spend a lot of time like just
Coming back to.
coming back to things because we can't
We're
finish
not
them.
moving forward, yeah.
Yeah. And because you're pulled in too many directions. So,
Claire?
yeah. I mean, I
I'm
don't know
good
the
to
answers.
adjourn the meeting then at 8:36.
Motion to adjourn?
A
Yeah,
motion to adjourn,
second.
I'm sorry.
Motion
Okay.
came from Mary,
Motion came from Mary,
second.
second from Kristen.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those not in favor? Motion's passed. Sorry.